What will the days of Mashiach look like? So there's depth to this question. There's different layers to this, levels and layers to this question, but how will it look on a physical level, basically on the main level of the world? It will be a much more spiritual time. There will be no more wars. Everyone will get along with one another. Everyone will know that the Torah is true and that God is the one running the show. And not only that, but that everything he tells us to do, in fact, is for the greater good of ourselves and for the world. And we'll be able to see the clear picture that ultimately we were all aware of to an extent before we were born. Meaning, we have a soul, a spiritual part of us that existed before we were born. And it was aware of godliness. And now that we come down to the world, we have to rediscover or relearn and uncover all of this spirituality that exists in the world. But ultimately, not only are we just relearning it, now that we learn it here down in this earth, we're going to reach a much higher level than before. And basically, the point is not to go to heaven or to stay on earth. The point is to bring down heaven to earth, to bring down Gan Eden to earth. And that's what the days of Mashiach are. It's basically a union of heaven and earth. And the ultimate redemption, the ultimate feeling, basically it will be to see godliness every moment. Every moment that we're here in this physical earth, we will see godliness and we will derive a lot of pleasure from it. And we will cause God a lot of pleasure by fulfilling his commandments, as we already do now. But as we know, we've learned that each mitzvah, each commandment that we fulfill, we're connecting 100% to Hashem. We're bringing down the light, the infinite Hashem. We're doing his will here in this earth. If the more mitzvahs we do, the more Torah we learn, the more we understand, and the more we connect to God. But nonetheless, there's still a lot that's being hidden from us, blocked, that's waiting to be revealed. The more we learn Torah, the more we actually do reveal. But when the times of Mashiach come, which I think are extremely close, and I'll get into that, but when the times of Mashiach come, there's going to be a great revelation of God's light, far more than before we were born when we were in heaven, because now we're going to understand heaven and godliness and much higher God himself. We're going to understand from the perspective of this physical earth, which is the furthest thing from God. So the further you go, once you return, it makes the journey all that much better. And basically, to put this into terms that everyone can understand, before we were born, we had no individual existence. We were one with God. It was an incredible feeling. But we didn't earn anything, and we didn't appreciate it. We appreciated it, of course, and it was the most pleasurable thing. But the level we can reach now that we have our own individual existence is much greater. We reach a much higher level than before we were born, because now we get to earn our spot next to God, and we get to bring down godliness, and we have our own individual existence. Whereas before we were born, we were one with God. We had no ego. We had no individual existence. We were one with God. Now that we have our own individual existence, the point is to bring the two together. That yes, we have our own individual existence, but it's only because God is giving us this opportunity. And in reality, we don't actually exist outside of him, because he's the ultimate. Everything is because of his goodness. And the only reason that we're here is because at every moment he's kind to us, and he gave us this whole earth, this whole life. We didn't ask to be born. We didn't earn it. He gave it to us. He gave us this chance. And now he's giving us this chance. He's going to reveal godliness within the physical world, which is the ultimate pleasure that we have ahead of us, that's right now, that God's giving to us. We just have to recognize it. And that's what the days of Mashiach are going to be like. It's the greatest. When you were a kid, you imagined the greatest things, like going on vacation or finishing school. Imagine the brain of a child, because the child still imagines with that level. But the days of Mashiach will tower over anything we could possibly imagine in terms of spiritual pleasure. But we can get into that now by learning Torah, the inside of Torah as well, like Chassidut and Kabbalah from the Arizal, and especially by learning Gemara, Chumash, by also putting all these tools together and doing good deeds for one another and spreading it with others. We're connecting this light, and we're able to not only are we getting a glimpse at Mashiach, but we're bringing in Mashiach by doing that. So thank you so much. I hope this video was enjoyable to you guys, and God bless you, and let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And please help those around you, because each mitzvah brings another mitzvah, and we can get momentum to bring Mashiach.